At the dinner party, I was wearing a bright red strapless gown, standing out in the crowd. Emily, Lucas's sweetheart, was drenched in wine I poured on her, looking pitiful and kneeling on the ground. Everyone expected Lucas to stand up for Emily, but instead, he rushed over to hug me tightly, trembling as he said, "I'll never let you go again." I smiled and used all my strength to slap Lucas across the face, making every guest gasp and cover their mouths. I rubbed my hand, which was red from the slap, took a breath, tossed my hair behind me, and walked out of the banquet hall gracefully, while everyone looked on in shock. In the underground garage, I revved up the Ferrari under my feet, the roaring engine sound lifting my spirits. Goodbye to Lucas and Emily. With a second chance at life, I'm ditching love and becoming a carefree super-rich woman. Lucas and I were the perfect match, a golden couple that everyone talked about. At our joint coming-of-age party at 18, we got engaged under the watchful eyes of family and friends. Back in high school, our class teacher would always call on us to host large performances together, and Lucas was always patient and caring toward me in a way that was different from others. Golden couple seemed coined just for us, and I took pride in it, thinking of myself as a winner in life. But Emily's arrival felt like a slap in the face, shattering my confidence and leaving me a subject of ridicule. What's laughable is how it all happened in just 1 year. Why 1 year? Because after Emily showed up, I only lived for a year. I'm Emily's sister, Shirley. Emily was the first daughter in our family, stolen from the hospital by human traffickers working with our nanny. Even though our family tried everything to find her for months, they failed, leaving my mother devastated and unwell. A year later, she unexpectedly got pregnant with me and cherished me, raising me with care. After my engagement, on the first day of college, my miserable life truly began. A series of dramatic events kept unfolding, starting with me joining Lucas's club as vice president, where I recruited new members, including Emily. On our club trips, she was always next to Lucas, who, though usually cold and distant, would help her whenever she needed it, acting completely out of character. Emily gradually infiltrated my circle. During one dinner, my mother, Susan, bizarrely took her in as our adopted daughter, and my brother Ken was infatuated with her, even ignoring my birthday party to wait outside for Emily after her work shift with Lucas. Things got even crazier. On the way back to my birthday party, they were in a car accident, leaving my brother in critical condition. In the midst of it all, Lucas remembered to get a DNA test, confirming Emily was indeed our long-lost first daughter, the heiress abducted years ago. The whole situation spiraled into insane drama. Emily suddenly had kidney issues. Being her full sibling, my kidney became the first choice. Even though I refused multiple times, they somehow compelled me onto the operating table, ending my life at a mere 19. That year I became incredibly jealous, complaining, scheming, manipulating. Whenever I was tied to Emily, my mind turned to mush. I tried to show off in front of her, but always ended up humiliated. Once, we crossed paths in a dress store. I mocked Emily in my custom dress, only for Lucas to arrive and publicly shame me in return. Despite my glare, Lucas had the staff bring out the dress he had ordered for Emily. The staff didn't say a word, but their looks were full of pity and schadenfreude. After her change, Emily stood beside Lucas, innocently asking if I preferred her dress, claiming she grew up with her adoptive parents and never wore such beautiful clothes, which she could give to me if Lucas nodded. Naturally, this led to me angrily humiliating them both, and Lucas defended Emily by lashing out at me. Last life, my family nurtured me for 18 years like a flower, only for me to wilt and rot in just 1 year, teaching me the harsh lesson of the unpredictability of human nature. I put on sunglasses, opened the convertible top of the Ferrari, and let the mountain wind blow through my hair. With a swipe of my right hand, I pushed all my hair back, undoing the hairdo I had carefully arranged for the party. With a glance at the engagement ring on my right hand, I used my thumb to nudge it off, holding it one last time. Those past 18 years were ruined by its constraints. Passing by the cliff, I casually tossed it away without even hearing it tumble into the unreachable depths below. My 18-year love for Lucas was discarded just like that. If anyone asks how I feel about this breakup, I'd say it feels freaking amazing. Arriving at the family villa, I put back on my high heels, twirling the keys in my hand, and waited for the tardy butler. Tossing the keys his way, I ordered, "You have half an hour to pack up my stuff from my room." Upstairs, I watched the maids swiftly pack my belongings while the butler beside me sweated nervously. I wandered around my room, admiring the beautiful decor, every bit of it a testament to my family's love before I turned 18. I used to love jewelry, and my parents and brother would always buy me beautiful gems, but once Emily appeared, everything changed. Now I don't care for these anymore. In my last life, I cleared my debt with the surgery they put me through. I tossed the unopened gift box on my dresser into the trash. Inside was an emerald necklace Ken just auctioned off in New York. The butler watched my odd move and motioned for the maid to get Susan, who was resting on the 5th floor. Everything was packed up in order, with me directing. I didn't want most of the stuff, just some clothes and books I bought myself. My mom, Susan, came down and saw the maid packing. She was shocked. "Shirley, what's going on? Why the sudden move?" I looked quietly into her eyes, a slight smile on my lips. "Mom, I'm moving out today. I don't want to be anyone's stumbling block. Last time, you guys forced me into the operating room like slaughtering a pig. The fear before anesthesia was probably like pigs before being butchered." Susan was confused. "Shirley, did someone bully you? Or was it Lucas?" "Don't be afraid, I'm here to help." Oh gosh, the typical overprotective mom character. I can't handle it. I grabbed a suitcase and didn't bother explaining. I wasn't about to tell her that the precious older daughter was coming back and I'd soon be bullied to tears. Ignoring Susan's attempts to stop me, I ordered a car on my phone and left. Before leaving, I just said, "By the way, let you guys know, I'm done with Lucas." Leaving Susan alone, shocked by my sudden departure. Susan snapped out of it and quickly grabbed her phone. Her older daughter was gone, she couldn't let Shirley leave too. When the call connected, a calm male voice came on. "Mom, what happened?" Frankly, I didn't care about the chaos back home after I left. I booked a suite in the city's top hotel and sprawled on the king-sized bed. I ordered a string of late-night snacks. My life was about to really start. While waiting for the snacks, Lucas's number showed up on my phone. Totally forgot about him. 2 clicks and he was in my blacklist. Done. Texts from my friend Vivian buzzed in constantly, with 60-second voice messages one after another. Calls bombarded me. Just when my snacks arrived, I picked up while putting on gloves. "Wow, Shirley, what did you do?" "What did I do?" "Dumped a jerk. You actually schooled Emily in public. 1 glass of red wine and her designer dress is ruined. Watching you so excited, you'd think it's your rival." I calmly replied, "No big deal. Her sugar daddy's rich, just poor and buy another one." "Sugar daddy? What do you mean?" Vivian sounded puzzled. "Whoever bought her the dress, that's who." I spilled the truth while munching cookies. "No way, it can't be Lucas. He's gone too far, he's engaged to you." Vivian was outraged on my behalf. "But wait, after you left, Lucas followed you." Emily stood there looking silly, waiting for some knight in shining armor to save her. "Ha, that green tea witch." I could imagine Vivian rolling her eyes with disdain. Lucas not staying to comfort Emily was unexpected. The next day, I brought my books into class. Everyone focused on me, the star of last night's drama. Of course, many were eager for the next episode. Ignoring the stares, I picked a random seat. Emily soon sidled over. She clutched her white dress nervously, all sweet and apologetic. "Shirley, I didn't know what I did wrong yesterday, sorry." Listen to that? Does that sound like an apology? More like accusing me, as I believe. But that dress, Lucas loaned it to me. The price is too high for me to afford. "Shirley, I promise I'll work to pay for it." Check out that logic. I splashed the wine, the dress Lucas loaned her. She didn't know what offended me, but she will pay. Her message basically was, as Lucas's fiancé, I hurt her. If I demanded compensation, I'd be bullying a classmate, unable to tolerate others. Naturally, her so-called apology and explanation stirred the classmates. Yeah, this Emily seems strapped for cash, always working. The dress wasn't her fault, why make her pay? Shirley's family is loaded, it's just a dress. Why so petty? All that elegance and generosity with classmates is a sham. The whispers turned accusatory, some even openly defended Emily. Shirley, Emily's dress was stained by your wine. You should cover it, a girl who worked with Emily at the cafe spoke up, tying a high ponytail, always sparking class activities. I sat back, watching their chatter. Lowered my crossed leg, relaxed a bit, crossed my arms. What are you staring at? I'm not wrong. Standing, a bit taller than her, I scanned the room then focused on Emily, calmly stating. You guys think first. I haven't asked you to pay for the dress, even if you wanted to, go see Lucas who loaned it to you. Second, apologizing in front of me, you know my relationship with Lucas. Don't pretend you don't know why I'm mad. Or are you just that clueless and naive? Finished with Emily, I turned to that girl, classmate, if your friend loves being the third wheel, trust me, exposing a cheater would lead to worse than a soaking. Emily was stunned into wide-eyed silence, then tried to protest, and no. Ignoring how much of a bombshell my words were among my classmates, I continued, I've heard some comments from you guys. Do you even know how long your parents have to work to pay your tuition? Having money and being gullible are two different things. Why should I pay for her mistakes? That dress was couture, every size is custom measured to fit each body. You knew from the start, Lucas is my fiancé. When you accepted his borrowing of the dress, didn't you think you might stain it? Or that an accident could happen? You seem really naive. I stepped closer, using my height to back Emily into a corner. Just as she looked like she might fall, I grabbed her arm. I saw in her eyes not fear, but a look of losing control. With a smile painted in bright red lipstick, I said, Emily, you better stand firm. Don't trip over nothing again, or I'll think you're trying to frame me on purpose. Just then, Lucas walked into the class, and my phone buzzed with a message. I didn't bother looking at Lucas, he was irrelevant now. He was out the moment he betrayed me. Lucas tried to stop me, his face full of regret and concern. Shirley, I need to talk to you. I brushed his hand away. He noticed that I had taken off my engagement ring and held my hand, excitedly. Shirley, I know you're mad. I've realized my mistakes, and I won't make them again. Please, give me another chance. I pulled my hand back, finally free, and started typing a reply to the message. No need to explain, we're done. The tension was suffocating, and I had things to handle. I grabbed my books and headed out. As I reached the door, I turned back and added, enough crying, Emily. Your guy's rich enough. He won't ask for the dress back. He planned to give it to you, so it's all yours. I prefer not to use things others have touched, whether items or people. A lid for every pot, right? You two can just keep your thing going. The crowd finally settled down after the drama, calming bit by bit. The girl with the high ponytail snapped back to reality, sweating nervously. She probably didn't know why she stood up for Emily. They weren't close, and Emily had caused her plenty of trouble at work, forcing her to pick up the slack to keep her job at the restaurant. The impact I left on Emily shrank thanks to her efforts. Still, with everyone's eyes on her, she walked over to Lucas. Sorry, Lucas, I really didn't mean to. I'll apologize to Shirley again. But Lucas didn't counter what I said openly or bash me in front of everyone. He just said, no need to repay anything. You mentioned you didn't have a dress, and I didn't consider Shirley's feelings. Shirley accidentally spilled wine. Let's just call it even. The bell rang, and everyone returned to their seats. The lecture went on without a hitch, though the department forum buzzed with a thread titled "Wild Breakup Between Engaged Couple, Rumored Mistress Steps In." A hot gossip piece flew around. "Did you hear? Shirley and Lucas broke up. They're the hot couple from our class." "No way, seriously? I came up with them from high school. They were the elite couple even the principal knew." "It's true." Lucas gave Emily a couture dress, and that was the last straw. "But Shirley's so chill. Back in high school, I messed up my uniform once, and she lent me her spare clothes. Right? She comes from money, too. Hard to imagine such a small thing causing a breakup." No. Let's stick to the facts, folks. Emily told Lucas she didn't have an evening dress. That's why he got her one. No wonder. That's on Emily. It's just a party, kind of like a prom. Why claim not to have a dress? Why not just go without one? Doesn't everyone know Shirley and Lucas are engaged around here? Why ask someone else's fiancé for a dress? If it were me, I'd never let my boyfriend lend clothes to another girl, price aside. I'd have decked her and spilled wine on her for good measure. Nah, it's just a dress. Shirley's being petty. Suddenly, someone jumps in, freezing the talk. What do you mean? Are you Emily herself, backing her up like that? Yeah, why should she allow her fiancé to buy another woman a dress? That's so not okay from any angle. Seriously, who just buys a $50,000 dress like it's no big deal? After I got a message from the lawyer, I headed to the prearranged cafe. Instead of the lawyer, my incredibly handsome brother was there. I rolled my eyes, sat across from him, and he grinned as he ordered desserts. While waiting, I relaxed a bit. I was expecting a lawyer. Where is he? Well, Susan mentioned you wanted to move out of the house. She was worried something happened, so she asked me to check up on you. Ken sipped his espresso, his gold-rimmed glasses adding a mature charm. It had been so long since I'd seen him. In another life, he'd been in the ICU after a car accident until I died, never knowing if he made it. I zoned out for a moment, but Ken waited patiently. Finally, I spoke up. I want to call off the wedding. I don't want to marry Lucas. All right. I snapped my head up, strands of hair brushing my face. Ken agreed without question to call off the wedding. When you got engaged, I promised not to let anyone bully you. I'll always have your back. When I promised myself in this new life not to let past people and events burden me again, I really meant it. But hearing those words made my eyes well up anyway. My expression probably gave away that I was upset. Ken sat next to me, gently wiping away my tears with a bent finger. Then he pulled a velvet box from his bag on the table. He opened it to reveal a ruby necklace, more exquisite than the emerald one I threw away. It sparkled brilliantly. Ken put it around my neck, took my hand, and kissed the back of it. My princess, my promise will always count. Overall, today was pretty great. I recounted everything that had happened to Ken, who seemed thoughtful for a moment before suggesting, how about we consider getting them expelled from this school? My brother is always so assertive. If we're gonna make a change, do it big. I laughed at his remark, shaking my head. I just don't want them bothering me. I couldn't care less about their mess. Seeing I wasn't joking, Ken turned to a serious topic. I brought up wanting to nullify a previous agreement. It included transferring 15% of my shares to Lucas after marriage, along with some property and land. Ken assured me not to worry, he'd take care of the rest. While eating dessert, I couldn't help but stare at him. How could such a sharp, handsome guy be fooled by Emily? Ken tapped my nose. Why are you zoning out? Coming here gave Mom a scare. You'll need to calm her nerves when you get back. I sheepishly resisted returning, but Ken explained gently that Mom missed me. She was unsettled by my sudden departure yesterday, especially after losing a child before. She couldn't take another separation. I couldn't come up with a good enough reason not to return, so I moved back to the villa that night. Susan welcomed me right at the door. Ignoring the housekeeper and maids behind me, she gave me a bear hug. "Oh, honey, why'd you leave home over a breakup?" I was so worried. "Don't fret, Lucas will pay for mistreating you. Your mom won't let him hurt you like that." The dinner table was lavish, filled with all my favorites. After eating my fill, I went to my room, which was as glam as always. My skincare products were all neatly arranged again, though the gift box was gone. Not thinking much of it, I headed to the shower. While in there, someone snuck in, found a strand of my hair, bagged it, and left. Lucas tried contacting me many times afterward, but I just shut him down. He showed up at the villa, only to be stopped by the security system and the guards. He even used new numbers to reach out and explain himself, but I blocked him each time. Despite all that, I'd still run into him in class. He'd sit near me on purpose. To avoid him, I'd arrive just in time and find a seat in a corner by myself. Emily, his constant shadow, followed him everywhere. Even if Lucas seemed annoyed with her, she still put on that sweet, innocent act. After the last incident, I quit Lucas's club, and Emily conveniently took over as vice president. Naturally, everyone heard the rumors. Many members I recruited left and joined other clubs. Soon, only the clueless few remained, and the club's morale vanished. Some of the old members came to me, hoping I'd start a new club for them. Sure, both Lucas and I had the money. If the school didn't fund us, we'd do it ourselves. But now, with me gone, Lucas ignored everything. Emily, on the other hand, took control of the club's funds and denied even basic expenses, claiming they were wasteful or unnecessary. She couldn't be bothered to keep up her innocent act in front of the remaining members. I didn't want to deal with them anymore. In a past life, before marriage, I watched Lucas's deep devotion to Emily. I underestimated his commitment and made the mistake of transferring my wealth to him. This left me powerless. My mom, feeling guilty for Emily's 19-year absence, gave half of what was intended for me to Emily. Lucas remained relentless, pestering me with gifts, random encounters, even influencing teachers to pair us in groups. Emily always latched on. Enough was enough. During a class hiking trip, Lucas insisted on trailing behind me. Predictably, halfway up, Emily let out a shriek. She fell at my feet, eyes teary and puppy-like. Lucas didn't bother with her. Standing beside me, he watched her scramble to her feet. I knew she was up to something. "Sure enough," she said, "Shirley, I know you didn't mean to push me." "I'm okay." My patience wore thin. With no one else around, I went off hands-free. "Aren't you two just the worst?" They were stunned. "You think I'll keep quiet with your little tricks?" Lucas tried to speak, but I cut him off. "You're disgusting. How much more do you intend to manipulate? You think you're some kind of rescuer? You claim to love me, but can't reject her advances? Don't give me any excuses. It's not just her clinging to you. Without you, she wouldn't dare mess with me." I turned to Emily. "Everyone knows what you're up to. Maybe you've never been in our league, but your games only work on dimwits with lead in their skulls. No matter how helpless you act, you'll never marry Lucas. Even without me, there'd be another woman for him to marry. Marriage is a game for those in power. As an interloper, your shamelessness has me wondering, could you deflect bullets with that thick skin of yours? Just a clown." When Lucas saw I was about to leave, he grabbed me tightly. "Shirley, I know you're still mad, but we're engaged. Everybody knows that. You still have our engagement ring. Give me a chance, and I'll make it up to you with everything I've got. Please, just one more chance." Lucas's eyes turned slightly red as he clung onto my hand, unwilling to let go. I pried each of my fingers off his hand one by one, smirking coldly. "Lucas, if your vision's gotten blurry, maybe you should hit up an eye clinic. I'm not wearing the ring because we're done. Second chances? Everyone wants one after they screw up. If apologies worked, what's the use of having cops? Opportunities are for those ready for them. What have you prepared? A useless apology? I'm not your mom, I don't have to forgive you. Wake up. Stop bothering me, or you'll regret it. This shameless idiot. I thought I was pretty much a saint for not getting back at them after they screwed me over. If people knew, they'd be calling me a saint for real. And now he's trying to take advantage? Makes me want to knock some sense into him. The more I thought about it, the more annoyed I got. In a flash, I slapped him hard, and his face turned to the side. Emily shrieked, and I gave her a slap too. Perfect match, a garbage couple. Lucas got up, looking lost, emptiness in his eyes. He finally realized he truly lost Shirley. Going up the hill was pointless, so he brushed off the dirt and started walking downwards, back straight. He wasn't giving up. Emily, seeing no one was siding with her, tried to get up and follow Lucas. But no one cared about her twisted ankle. Her face darkened, and she angrily snapped one of her manicured nails. On reaching the top of the hill, everyone was already laying out picnic blankets. Seeing me alone, no one dared to gossip out loud. I sat down on one of the mats, feeling the stares from behind. A few people who defended Emily last time awkwardly approached me. Shirley, we owe you an apology. We shouldn't have said you have money and don't need compensation. We're sorry. Leaning back on my hands, I tilted my head upwards, letting my hair fall over my arms and feeling the sunshine through the leaves, glowing warmly on my face. I closed my eyes, unfazed by them. It's over. Don't worry about it. I opened my eyes and spotted some snacks near them. Pointing at a box of fruit, I said, I'd like that, please. Thanks. Grateful for the way out, they scrambled to open the box and passed it to me. I took a bite and smiled, these are delicious. You've got a great eye for picking sweet strawberries. The girl who picked the fruits blushed, clearly shy. Just then, Emily limped up the hill, seeing that our picnic spot was the only one with space and brazenly sat down. The slap mark and red eyes she had were obvious, and though she was limping, nobody asked what happened or acknowledged it, which caught her by surprise. Still, the girl holding the fruit tried to play peacemaker, pushing the box towards Emily, inviting her to eat. Emily wasn't impressed. Used to splurging club funds on herself, such low-cost snacks were beneath her. She bit her lip in disdain before speaking, sorry, my stomach can't handle these cold raw foods. Realizing I wasn't leaving just yet, I texted my brother, asking him to pick me up. He replied almost instantly saying he was on his way. About half an hour later, as everyone started packing up, Emily lounged around using her swollen ankle as an excuse, pretending to offer help but ultimately playing the victim to get out of it. I helped bag the trash and then noticed the sound of a car approaching. A sleek black McLaren pulled up beside me, earning gasps from the guys who recognized its worth. The door opened, and Ken stepped out, dressed in a perfectly tailored black suit. He was so striking that the girls around were swooning a bit. Emily saw her chance and limped towards him, wanting to catch his attention. With only one car here, her intentions were clear. I rolled my eyes as Ken put a hand on my shoulder. Shirley, let's head home. We have a dinner party to prepare for tonight. I turned and got in the car, only opening the window to see what Emily would do next. When Ken ignored her, she took a few steps forward, ready to speak, but Ken held her off. Miss, please step back. I need to drive. And with that, he got in, started the car, leaving Emily in a cloud of exhaust. Emily's face was a mile away from mine now as I curiously asked, I didn't know about this dinner. Ken merely chuckled. Well, there is one. At the dinner. To my surprise, my brother had organized a gathering with many of the family's business partners present, including Lucas. He didn't approach me, but his eyes never left me. That was until Ken called me on stage, getting interrupted by all the partners greeting him. Thank you all for coming today. Let me introduce you to my sister, the family's only daughter. I've gathered you here to announce that, through family voting, Shirley now owns 50% of the company's shares. Please show her your support. In a month, it's Shirley's birthday, and you're all invited. Feel free to bring your sons to meet her. I was shocked, eyes wide. They suddenly gave me another 20% of the company's shares? Ken must have transferred his shares to me. Lucas and the business partners were just as stunned. The people around him thinned out quickly. Everyone thought I'd already married Lucas and that we'd team up in business, taking a bigger share of the market. But from Ken's words, it was clear the engagement was off, subtly hinting at their breakup. No one wanted to cross Ken. Sure, Lucas's family had money, but compared to Ken, it was no contest. That guy Lucas really should have appreciated what he had. Lucas's face turned dark, and he crushed his wine glass, shards cutting into his hand. He wanted to argue, but from behind, Ken put a finger to his lips for silence. Lucas knew he couldn't afford to make an enemy of Ken in public. So, he placed the broken glass on the waiter's tray and left quietly. I've been over the moon lately. A party, and my worth has skyrocketed. Frankly, even if I spent my days shopping like mad, I couldn't spend it all in a lifetime. And all of it? It's mine. No one else controls my life anymore. My brother asked if I was happy. I was so excited I wrapped my arms around his neck, reluctant to let go. Ken just indulged me, holding me close. Today was the happiest day since my rebirth, the day I was free from being Lucas's fiancée. In a month, it'll be my birthday party. Susan was shocked but supportive of my brother ending the engagement with Lucas. Without her support, those 20% shares wouldn't have been mine so easily. She's been busy planning my birthday party. Emily, on the other hand, hasn't been having much luck. First, a teacher pulled her aside over repeat losses in competitions, clearly not taking them seriously. As a chosen student rep, she needed to get her attitude straight. Then Lucas dumped her. Now, he won't even talk to her. She's a laughingstock among classmates. But just wait. Emily held on to a report, smirking with confidence. Everyone who looked down on her would pay. A month flew by, and the day before, I got another call. The designer wanted me to try on the final version of the dress. At the store, a concierge led me to the VIP waiting room while they brought out the dress. And there she was, Emily. She was wearing a strapless cocktail dress that showed off her figure perfectly. She definitely knew her strengths. When she saw me, she seemed startled but then launched into her act again. Shirley, I'm sorry. I didn't know you'd be here. I didn't let her finish. I crossed my legs and gave her a cool look. What's up? Another party to crash, and nothing to wear? Lucas is really sweet, always buying you dresses. No, Shirley, Lucas likes you. He didn't mean to upset you. He just needed a +1 for an event and asked me to go. Spare me. I have zero interest in whatever plot you two are cooking up. Who are you to play mediator between us? Ignoring her sour expression, the concierge came over, politely asked her to leave, and pointed out that her card wasn't valid for the VIP room. She'd have to use the regular changing room. Exposed, Emily left in embarrassment. I turned to the concierge. Wow, Lucas didn't even upgrade his card for VIP access and brought you here. The concierge confirmed it wasn't a VIP card. I noted the card number knowingly. I chuckled, first time seeing Lucas use a club card to buy you a dress. Emily trembled, snatched the card, and hurried out. Everything went smoothly afterward. The altered gown featured my favorite jewels. The slightly sheer design highlighted my curves perfectly. I paid, totally satisfied. On the night of the party, I sat at my vanity when there was a gentle knock on the door. Come in, I called. Ken entered with a velvet box, closing the door behind him. Seeing me at the mirror he smiled, my princess, today is your birthday. I'm here to present you with jewelry. Inside the box was a necklace of crimson diamonds, accented by costly pink diamonds. Like always, Ken helped me put it on. I felt the central crimson diamond. It was the star of the show. This birthday party, my brother wasn't tricked into fetching Emily, and Susan didn't adopt Emily through Lucas. My miserable past life reset with my rebirth. Now, I'm the real winner. Downstairs, the grand hall was filled with well-dressed business partners and influential figures. There, I spotted Lucas and Emily. She was in the dress she snuck from the funds, holding onto Lucas's arm. A pair of losers. Everyone who learned of my breakup with Lucas didn't bother greeting him this time. Seeing Emily's naive smile, they shook their heads. Lucas really doesn't know what he's doing. Anyone could see my birthday party was a crucial networking event. Instead of strengthening his ties with Ken, he brought a girl along. No way he's keeping up. Lucas's family couldn't compete like the previous generation, not like Ken's family. Even with fewer members, Ken led brilliantly. The whispered comments left Lucas feeling awkward. He gently pulled out of Emily's grasp, though she kept on smiling on the outside, cursing inside. Halfway through the wedding reception, people from all walks of life took the stage to give speeches. When it was Susan's turn, even at 45, she still had a captivating presence, graceful and elegant. Her eyes were a bit red, probably touched by the occasion. She started off, "Thank you so much for being here today. Shirley is my dearest daughter." She barely said a few words when someone in the crowd interrupted, "No, Susan, Mom, you have me too." So dramatic. Even if a zombie stood in front of me right now, it would collapse into dust, howling, "This is peak drama." The crowd parted to make way, and at the end of the path stood Emily. She pulled out a document, confidently walking towards Susan as if she were a goddess descending. Passing it to Susan, Susan remained unfazed, no reaction. She glanced at the document and handed it over to Ken, who tore it up on the spot. Emily hadn't expected this turn of events. She tried to snatch it back but was stopped by security. She shouted, "Mom, I'm your eldest daughter. This DNA report can prove that I'm your daughter. Take a closer look." Ken grabbed the mic, "Miss, I've met you. You're Shirley's classmate. I've checked your background. You grew up in a small village here, got into this college with the help of your parents. After entering school, your family went bankrupt, so you worked part-time, and it was your parents who introduced your uncle to give you living expenses, right?" Blindsided by her secrets being revealed, Emily took a step back, fear in her eyes. In the next second, he'd expose her most hidden secret. "That DNA report is fake. You collaborated with your uncle, who works as a housekeeper in the Ken family, to get Shirley's hair for the DNA test against Susan. It's through him you knew the Ken family lost a daughter before Shirley was born. The news only mentioned a lost child back then, with few knowing the gender." The housekeeper, realizing he was exposed, tried to flee but was restrained by Ken's guards. He kept yelling, "I was forced. I was forced." Ken moved closer slowly. Emily tripped and fell, watching Ken extend his hand. He wasn't helping her up. He was hooking a finger under the emerald necklace around her neck. "Seems like you're not just plotting deceit but also theft." Ken twisted the necklace, causing it to fall, crouching down in front of Emily, holding the necklace up. "This necklace was a gift for Shirley from me. How could you, who never visited our home, have it? Did Lucas give it to you, or did you conspire to steal it?" Emily shook her head frantically, her perfectly arranged hair falling. She didn't dare admit theft. The necklace was worth millions. Confirming she stole it would definitely mean jail. She looked at Lucas with hope. Lucas was furious by now. She wasn't. She wasn't. His patience had finally snapped. All this time, he had been helping a woman who harmed his fiancée. His angry gaze could have burned through Emily. Emily clung to Lucas's leg like a lifeline. "Lucas, I'm not what they say, I was just misled. My uncle said I looked like Susan and forced me into claiming I was her daughter. He controlled my college funds. If I didn't comply, I would have had to drop out. Help me, I beg you. Her slender fingers wrinkled Lucas's pants. Lucas kicked her away, shouting, "You've been lying to me all this time." Emily had abandoned all etiquette now, in front of dignitaries at the event. She was now a stray dog. Tears fell down as she desperately cried, "Lucas, please, help me, I really have no choice. You're all wealthy. My parents went bankrupt. I stayed at my uncle's. Without cooperation, I don't have any other way to survive. Please, I beg you." Pinned at the side, the housekeeper, hearing the chaos, erupted again. Surrounded, his mouth wasn't covered, he roared, spitting, "You despicable woman. May lightning strike you. You told me to take the hair samples for the DNA test. You threatened me for enough money, or else. He hesitated, not daring to continue. Then continued to curse, "Your parents went bankrupt because of you. If it weren't for you leaking their secrets in videos to their competitors, they wouldn't have gone under. That's how you repay me for taking you in, you troublemaking ingrate." Emily didn't dare to admit at that moment, No, you guys have to believe me. No one would make their own family go bankrupt. I was really forced into this. I'm only 19, how could I be such a vile person? She looked around, hoping to find someone who believed her, but all the guests had stepped back, avoiding eye contact with her. "You little witch." The butler was so angry he looked like he might explode. It seemed like he was being accused as the mastermind forcing a good girl to steal. Not wanting to go down alone, he reluctantly confessed, "She knows I've been selling Ken's stuff, so she blackmailed me with evidence, even took photos to prove it. She claimed she'd pose as Susan's long-lost daughter to attend the event and needed a necklace. And she forced me to take the one Miss dropped in the trash. It wasn't that bad, right? If it's in the trash, it's no longer valuable. It's all her doing. She blackmailed me. When I heard about the necklace in the trash, I noticed Ken look over at me. I shrugged, gave a little tongue-out apology. Ken sighed, shook his head, and turned back. By this point, the party was basically ruined. The police had arrived, arrested the two of them, and Susan and Ken began clearing out the guests. Only Lucas stayed behind. Lucas kneeled in front of me. I was wrong. I'd been completely wrong from the very start. I hadn't quite processed it when he looked up. His eyes held remorse, disbelief. "If you're really sorry, don't bother me anymore. An ideal ex is as silent as the grave." Lucas slowly stood up, held back words in response to mine. Before leaving, he asked one last thing. "Can I at least keep the ring as a memory? I tossed it a while ago, off the cliff at the top of the mountain where we had our party." I met his eyes and declared it clearly. Lucas closed his eyes. It dawned on him he'd been written off long ago. After the spectacle ended, Susan sat across from me. She admitted she never stopped looking for her eldest daughter. Ken hadn't given up either. Just a month before my birthday party, he found the trafficker who took my sister. The man confessed that my sister was too young, crying throughout the train ride. To avoid attracting the crew's attention, he covered her mouth too tightly. My sister had been gone for a long time. The truth unfolded just before tonight's event began. Right before the party, Susan learned the truth, which explained why she seemed so emotional on stage. I couldn't help but wonder why in another life, Emily got away with a fake DNA test. Maybe Ken didn't truly like her, but was intent on investigating. And perhaps the car accident on my birthday night was no accident. Emily could have orchestrated it, with a confession from Ken after his coma making it seem like she fooled everyone into believing she was Susan's firstborn daughter. Realizing all this, tears filled my eyes. I embraced Susan and Ken tightly, soaking their clothes with my tears. They simply comforted me. Ken's large hand gently stroked my hair. His presence alone was my solace. Both Emily and the butler faced a court from Ken's family, getting sentenced to 7 and 12 years respectively. All their ill-gotten gains were tracked, their fines hefty enough to ensure endless labor post-release. Emily got expelled from school not for impersonating my sister, but because her club members reported her for misusing funds. If Lucas didn't care, it wouldn't matter. But he agreed to an audit, which revealed expenses reaching hundreds of thousands. The most extravagant was a dress for my birthday banquet, among countless other unaccounted expenses. After this, I became an exchange student abroad. In Germany, I met a local who owned a winery. We dated 5 years and married a year after I graduated. At the wedding, my brother held my hand, passed it to Oliver, and pledged again, "My princess, I'll always be there to protect you." Lucas attended too, but stayed outside in a black suit. He left right after I exchanged rings. Surrounded by well-wishers, Oliver and I kissed. In the bouquet toss, Vivian impressively caught it solo. We shared a knowing smile as cameras captured that lovely moment forever.